Our time is up, so the quicker we come, the faster we'll finish. Thank you, Elder, for coming. I want two. So I want the ones who've been married for 10 and below, and the ones who've been married for 15 and above, two of them. So you are the ones married for 15 and above. 20, that is okay. So another one in that category, 15 and above, thank you. Where are the ones who are married for 10 years and below? Walienda? Or are they busy with the children outside? Huh? There is none inside here. Thank you. So can somebody stand in for the single parents? Huh? Okay, Elder Regina, you will stand on their behalf. All right, so what we are going to do this afternoon is that we'll divide into various groups. And in these groups, we will solve some conflicts and keep in mind the principles that we had talked about during the week about covenant relationships, which are founded on God as the center, then the needs of the wife and the needs of the husband meeting together and Christ meeting their needs. Transformational leadership, where you take the leadership, servant leadership, and lead your family. Whether you are a sister, mother, brother, or whatever, you are a leader and you're leading your family to, first of all, where you'd like them to go. And it may not necessarily where you want them to go, but where you know is best for them to go. Then taking into consideration the mental wellness of your family, acts of kindness, acts of gratitude, and so on. So you have all this in mind when you are resolving this. So Matthew, you are going to go into the group where you love someone and is a very nice guy and actually quite considerate. But you find that sometimes he's controlling and wants to know, why were you with that man? Why were you talking with them for so long? And when messages come to your phone, he even wants to check your phone sometimes. So you are not happy. What do you do in that relationship? So we'll have a group that will go with Matthew to discuss that scenario, and you come up with a solution for us. So there'll be a group, there'll be a secretary in that group. Then we'll give you about 20 minutes, actually 15 to 20 minutes to tell us how you will resolve that conflict. So can you go and stand there? And then some people will come to you. So I hope you got it well. Then what's your name, please? Josephine. So for Josephine's scenario, you love someone so much, but your parents don't like him. Maybe he's not an SDA, or he's not from your tribe. And you had reached a point in your relationship where you are planning the wedding. But now, the only thing is that your parents don't like him. And they have their reasons for not liking him. What do you do? Okay, we want a group to go and discuss how to resolve that conflict. And please, can you please be joining them as they are going? So you be in a separate place. And yes, so you will write down the solutions that you come up with. And I know people can use their cell phones for writing, but I need them to be written where everyone can see so everyone contributes. Then the third one, I think where Elder Regina is standing, yes, an absent father. There is this absent father who is not seen actually you have separated. Maybe you divorced or you have never lived together, but you are the one who is living with the children. Then there's a child that gets into trouble in school, and it is becoming so bad that the school actually wants the parents. And then the father now is saying, but you are the one who's staying with the children. Maybe it's your problem that the children are turning out this way. And this is now a challenge. How do you resolve that conflict? So can you go with a group to resolve that conflict? Then, for the under 10, you have this young wife who maybe she's working, maybe she's not working, but she's so busy at home with the kids. And they are at a stage where they have the terrible twos. You know terrible twos? 2 to 3-year-old toddlers who are keeping her busy the whole day. Then the husband is also busy working and is demanding, when he comes home, is demanding intimacy and attention. And the wife is so tired and does not know what to do. So can you go and discuss that with your people who are married for 10 years and less? How do you resolve that conflict? Then there is, we have 2 more. All right. Okay. I'll need to choose which one. Yes. Okay. Your wife, you are the one who is working. And you give money for the shopping. The wife does the shopping. But you are noticing that the in-laws are being treated differently. The way your parents are being treated is not the same. Or even if the shopping is done, it's not the same quality. But you are the one who's giving the money. So it's now bringing conflict. How do you solve that? So can you go and solve that with a group?
That's 20 years and above.
No, well, yes. You can choose the group you want to go to. Then this one, there are 2. Okay, so this time, the lady is working. Maybe you've lost your job and is no longer working, but you want that since she's the wife and you are the head of the family, when she earns her salary, she brings it all to you, and then you decide how the money is to be used because you are the head of the family. And she's now not comfortable because she's the one who's earning all the money. How do you resolve that conflict? Okay, so everyone to please move to a group where you can contribute or learn. Okay, so which group is here? Oh, but aren't you too close to this other group? Why don't you move there? Yes. So this is the group where you love the man so much. And he's a handsome guy, you love him so much, but it's like he's a bit jealous when he sees you with somebody else, and now he's like even wanting to check your phone. How do you resolve that when he's controlling? There are so many people in this group, or is it? Oh, okay. Nitawaacha tu. Which group is this?
The one that is
Absent father, but does not want to now appear and is blaming the mother. Okay. Sawa. Which one is this? Which one is this? The working woman? Or the working man, but the in-laws are not getting the same treatment? Maybe the in-laws are the problem. You'll tell us. Okay. So this is the working woman. The working woman. Okay. Where are more women in? We need more women in this group. But it looks like your church actually has more men than women, which is interesting. Okay, so the working woman and anything that is associated with the working, maybe it's not even just the man controlling, but now the woman is working and maybe the man is even feeling that, you are no longer respectful. Yeah. Or the salary of the woman is higher than the salary of the man. All those. How do you solve that? So if your groups need a marker pen to write, you can come for some here. One person will be the scribe. Do you need one? Or you have a pen? Okay. Just make sure. Huh? Okay, thank you. So make sure your scribe writes the key points which you have agreed on. Let me get my phone.
Umenunua ile mkati kubwa na chumvi. It's na tissue paper. It's a bit bulky, yeah? And the other side, umenunua 2 kgs of sugar and mafuta ya kupika ndunga. Compared to the 2 mizigos, which looks bulkier. Unaona? So you might think, we were tissue paper na chumvi na mkati, shopping ni kubwa, yet in the real sense mwenye amenunuliwa sukari na other things ndio ina, unaona. So that's now the bone of contention. How did you know? Unaona, if at all you gave me 3k to cater for my family and 3k to cater for your family, how are you supposed to authenticate that? Unaona, and that's already a problem, because first of all you need to sit down and discuss as a family how much should be on the other side and how much should go on the other side. But if at all you are now the ruler of the house, you just give without any discussion. I assume there are some needs. This family has different needs from the other family. Maybe one parent of the other family is not there, and the other side of the family we have both parents and maybe children. Yeah, unaona. So I don't think the issue of I've given you this and this is how it's supposed to be, that should not be the case. first of all, you are behaving like a tiger or a lion in this family, because you are supposed to sit down and discuss. But if at all you are not discussing, you are just giving, you are becoming authoritative. That's not even democracy. That's now monarchy. And it will definitely bring conflict in the family. My take, though.
Is it monarchy when you are given that independence? You are given money, and so out of that money is now you are supposed to spend it equally on both the two parents. So that to me, I view that as some independence, so that you also have that independent thinking. But when I look at how you have acted, it does not show that independence.
Okay. If I may, yeah, you said something very more. But I want to assume here that there's already what a conflict. Yeah, and that's where I want us to start from. And if I've heard you very clear, Sister Ruth, what you are saying in such a scenario, if, for example, I'm feeling that much of the money that I give out, you are misusing the sense much of it goes to your actually siblings or your parents. So what you have proposed, if I got you correct, the two of us should sit down.
Sit down and discuss.
And discuss. That is now, because we are looking at the solutions. Yeah, that's what we are here to do, not other issues. How do we resolve?
Yeah.
So you propose that we
I think number one, we should avoid conflict right from the word go by now discussing first.
sitting down discussing it.
Yeah.
Tuendelee.
I also think that during discussion, people should express how they feel, not what they think. Because usually, what affects us most is how we feel about everything and anything. It's not what we think, because we all come from different schools of thought. So, I think, as we have just discussed, that it boils down to communication. It boils down to communication. So during communication or effective communication, during the discussion about the conflict, one person has identified there's a conflict, I may present, and then we need to discuss now two parties. So just like Ruth said, that how did you find out, they will explain how they found out about it and what resolutions do we have these. So during the discussion, both parties should express how they feel and not what they think, because we all come from different schools of thought. Like, probably because of how I was raised, how you were raised, my thinking would not exactly resonate with your thinking. So during the discussion, I think people should express how they feel or how that action is affecting the other party.
You as the head of the family, what we should do, after the discussion, we have to distribute it equally, both sides. Whatever you get from me as your wife, and you from your family, whatever you earn. Equally.
But how about, there's a point that she addressed. Sometimes maybe the burdens which is in that other family is not equal to this other family. That is why you might not divide equally, but when you discuss, you can agree on the rationing. Because could be you are supporting maybe 6 children and the other one maybe is just alone.
But you can give something which is almost equivalent to the members.
If the needs are different, it can't be equal. Reason why? Maybe some families I want to imagine. There are those families, and here we are discussing above 15 years in marriage. Let's assume our parents are maybe above or over 80 years. So most probably these parents are either one or two, and the dependents are, could be maybe the workers at home and maybe the grandchildren. So maybe we want to assume this one family has maybe wajukuu wengi kuliko the other family. You are not supposed to treat this family the same way hawa wengine, the wajukus are maybe in abroad. They usually come once in a while. There's no way you shall treat these two families equally. That means if we can't discuss as a family, as a husband and wife, that this is what we want for both families, that's already a conflict. And that's why we are here now discussing how are we supposed to solve this conflict, because it's already a conflict, not even a red flag. It's already in. Yeah, the husband is already feeling that the wife is discriminating. Yeah, this is the husband who is a bit bitter with the wife, and he feels the wife is discriminating the parents. Yeah, so how are we going to solve this issue? How are we solving now? Because that is now what we are calling for. Because there must be somewhere yes.
If you allow me, I don't know. I heard you, Sister Ruth, talk of the issue of providing evidence. Yeah, because you may, which I think is correct. As a wife, you may say, I mean, where is the evidence? You may even begin from there. Because this may be just a room. Okay? So, is that really important here? Asking, that's about the evidence.
Of course, evidence has to be there, because why are we now disagreeing in the first place? The evidence has to be there. Why are you doing this to me, to my family, yet you are doing this? You see, the evidence has to be there. Yeah. Maybe she wants to say something. You know, when people go into court, ama watu wakienda hapo kizimbani, there is always an accuser and the accuser or whoever is accusing the other huwa anakuja na evidence up front. So there is no way watu wata sit down without evidence. There is no ruling without evidence. And if there is
say, we assign you that duty. Now that I'm not doing it well, you do it well enough so that me I do something else, then I'll pick from there where you will leave it from.
Me,
Maybe we assign you that duty. Now that me, I'm not doing it well enough, we assign you that duty so that we see how you will also go about it.
That, yeah, in the sense you give me that opportunity now.
I doubt if that is now the points to discuss, because that's already a conclusion. Now you've seen me, I'm not providing, I'm not doing this. Now you do it yourself. That's already a conclusion. Yes. So there's no way I shall leave it to you now. Do whatever you think you feel like. Now just let me do this. No, that's already a conclusion. That's now jumping into conclusion, because we were sitting down and we were to discuss this issue. Yeah. Yes.
Let me help both of them.
Sitting down be number one, which is okay. And let us hope that you have agreed to go that direction. Then number two, evidence comes in. And if that evidence comes in, then I feel, yeah, that's okay. I could be right, okay. Then what you are feeling, I mean, on that, after evidence, then expressing how each party feels about it. I feel I'm really offended here, for example. Yeah. Okay. I want this one to be number two. Yeah. So what she's saying, you see, having expressed that is your feelings, and that's what from our side, as the one who is now offended. I mean, offended in the sense I am the accused, okay, and she's maybe offended. Then she may say, no, I think it's why you're now this, not to continue really pushing each other on small matters. Why don't you take up the responsibility? Just distribute the money. The money that says, okay, this much I give you for use, okay. If I want the money to go to my parents, for example, this much, and then your side, this much.
So, 1 minute. I feel like she has a point, just the way you, but not, you can't do that conclusion in the first sitting. We will do that conclusion. Maybe we have sat 4 times, 5 times, 6 times, and we're not coming into conclusion. So I would say, I have tried it, but you still feel that I am not doing this side justice. So why don't you also try it? Yeah.
Because we are trying to find out
Okay. Another thing that I will add on top of what you have said is that maybe we can look for a third party. It can be big, but there is no guarantee that we can agree. We might end up not agreeing. Yes, but we have seen families breaking even 20 years and above. Yes. Oh, then you are new in the city. Even elders even it happens even in our church where I come from. There is even an example that is a living example. After educating students through the university and finished. Yeah. No, not infidelity, just reason of finance. That is what I was going to say next. A third party, I mean maybe your pastor, or your pastor, your your, your pastor, or somebody who stood for you when you were taking the vow, or a marriage counselor, someone who can give you an advice. You know the reason. The, example, let me broaden your thinking there. For example, I decide to build my parents a home of maybe 4 million, and then you also want that I do the same to you, and maybe it is not done. You know, there are some people that will bring a major conflict.
Can we give 2 more minutes to wind up? And then the group will choose somebody to come and give us the summary. Let's wind up. Can we have the first group? Which group is ready? Elder Vincent, it looks like your group is ready. Can they come and give us a summary? Let's wind up, please, because each group needs to give us feedback, and then we'll have a summary presentation. and add it. Okay, so we have the first group, so you are ready to share? Are you the one who is going to present the outcome from your group? Okay. Okay, you can come and share.
So, good afternoon. So, our scenario was the wife is working, she's earning money, and the husband has no job. How do you solve that conflict? Or the wife is earning more than what the husband is earning. How would you resolve that conflict within that family? So we had a discussion, and our first point of discussion was, as a family, a Christian family, or even these other families that are not Christian families, husband and wives should come together and communicate, prioritize the expenditures within the home or within the house. Philippians chapter 2 verse 2, which talks about being one mind.
Philippians chapter 2 verse 2. Then make my joy complete by being like-minded, having the same love, and being in one spirit and purpose.
So, ideally, we should sit down as families, as husbands, as wives. Let's discuss our expenditures, not only when the husband is not working, but even on normal circumstances. We bring our budgets together, and then we prioritize and allocate some funds as a family. So when this happens, that the husband has lost his job, then it will not really differ much, because it's the same norm that is going to apply. Then secondly, we discussed about, on allocation of this money, the husband should receive some money, at least to run the daily expenses. The husband should be given some pocket money just to massage his ego. And this would also be vice versa, in the event that it is the woman who is not working, or the woman has lost her job and the husband is still working. We gave an example of a scenario where I'm the woman in the home, I've been earning money. It has been my responsibility to be buying clothes, shoes, and everything. But now, just because I've lost my money, it becomes my husband's responsibility, because hanipei pesa, si pesa ni yake. So he goes to the market, anaenda ananunua kitunguu, nyanya. I'm going to the market maybe where Sophie is, yeye ndio anampimia mchele. It also, in the community, itauliza kwani what happened, it used to be so and so buying this and this. Sometimes we don't want kuanika shida zetu huko nje. So it should still boil down to, even during allocation of our pocket, the budget, we ensure that we have some little money, at least hata huyu mzee akitoka, akipiga raundi zake, akirudi jioni, he can come with a bag, amebeba maziwa na mkate. We are just trying to massage the ego here. Then the third one was maybe have a discussion just within the family of, as we continue looking for other alternatives and jobs, maybe an income generating activity, you bring your minds together so that we don't stay idle. This person that does not have a job, at least engage in some income generating activity as the family. The book of 1 Thessalonians chapter 2 verse 9.
1 Thessalonians chapter 2 verse 9. Surely you remember, brothers, our toil and hardship. We worked night and day in order not to be a burden to anyone, while we preached the gospel of God to you.
So those are just reference verses. Then our other point was husband to increase love to the wife, and the wife to continue submitting. because at the end of the day, the book of Ephesians chapter 5 verse 21, verse 22 and 25 says something about submission.
Ephesians 5 verse 21. Submit to one another out of reverence for Christ. 22. Wives, submit to your husbands as to the Lord. For the husband is the head of the wife, as Christ is the head of the church, his body, of which he is the Savior. 25. Husbands, love your wives, just as Christ loved the church and gave himself up for her.
Yes, so this still remains that the husband is the head of the house, even if he has lost his job. We still want to support each other. We still want to practice the fruits of the Holy Spirit by both parties, the wife and the husbands. In the book of Galatians, chapter 5, verse 22.
Galatians 5 verse 22. But the fruit of the Spirit is love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, and self-control. Against such there is no law.
So against such there is no law. Finally, let us continue praying, because these are challenges that are there. They are real challenges, by the way. I might have my job today, I might not have it today, but the family is still there as a unit that God, as an institution that God instituted in the Garden of Eden. We know that women or wives are helpers of the husbands. In an ideal setup, we are just supposed to assist, where the husband is able to provide everything. My money, ile tunasema pesa yangu ni yangu, ya mzee ni yetu sisi wote. If his money can be able to take care of all the expenses and is comfortable with that, fine. But in instances where that is not possible, I'm earning this little money, he's earning this little money, we have a lot of expenses, we need to prioritize the family. We have children, we have school fees, we have money that we need to give to social functions and everything. Just sit down as a family, pray about it, sit down as a family and assist. Haina haja mimi pesa yangu ikuwe tu hapo ya kujirembesha, looking good, yet my partner is not sleeping, ako na mawazos, anashangaa how is it going to be, how is even going to make the ends meet. So let us pray for one another and let us pray for our families. Thank you.
What do we say to that group? Does someone want to add or subtract something? I think they did a good job. There is no addition. Do you want to add? Oh, okay. There is no addition. There is no subtraction. And you know this is a reality, especially in these days of women empowerment. Because remember a long time ago, it's the men who were going to school and the girls were left lagging behind. But as some people are seeing it now, that the girl child was so empowered that they have left the boys behind. Have you seen that in your communities? Okay, maybe not even in Better Living Church. I was in another church the other day where somebody who was seated to me said, "Where are the men?" Like it was a youth something and it was just the ladies. So they were like, what has happened to the boy child? So in these days of women empowerment, it is not uncommon to find the wife earning much more than the husband. And remember, when you are talking of covenant relationships, it is a covenant where Christ is the head, and you are agreeing that till death do us part. It is not till money do us part. Because finances really cause issues sometimes. Maybe when the husband was working and earning money, a lot of money, it was just okay. But now when things switch the other way around, now it is my money. So thank you so much for your contributions, that you pray together and work together. And I think for the man in that case, they should look for something to do. Don't just sit that now me, I have lost my job, my wife is working, she must bring all the money for me to control. You know, even go and sweep the streets and bring something. At least if you are saying you are the head of the home and you are not supposed to be controlling this person as your neck, but go and even do something that will contribute to this household without, disrespecting the task. Which is the next group to present? Maybe which one is this? Okay, you want to add something? Or is it your group? Let's have the one where the parents don't like your marriage partner. Okay. Okay, let her give you that mic. Yeah.
Happy Sabbath. Happy day. So, I've heard that if my wife earns more, I would rather go and sweep the streets. Ish. So that, what an illustration. If my wife wants that dignity to be purged on me, then so be it. A war. Otherwise, ours is that it's about tribalism, and it's about when this is difficult, and I would love our mom to really discuss it well with us after we've finished. It's about tribalism, and this is just for the youth, squarely. It's not for the married, and we would want your ideas after this. So we were discussing that what happens if the lady, in this case, the lady is a Kisi and the man is a Luo. This is just an example. And then the lady has presented what she thinks is her rib to the parents, but unfortunately the parents think that the lady has misplaced the rib. You get what I mean? In the sense that there's some clash of he's a Luo and you're a Kisi, therefore we don't think that it's going to be a good match for us. So we have divided it according to what we were asked to do in 3. Reasons for not marrying him, and then reasons for marrying him, and then how to resolve this conflict. So, according to this lady, reason as to why she's not supposed to marry this man, who is a Luo for that, in that case, and her being a Kisi, is because, first of all, there is what we call culture clash, all right? Where our cultures are not the same as the cultures of the woman or the lady. So there will be culture clash. Another thing is that there will be what we termed as child/parent strained relationship, in the sense that the child, or perhaps this woman, this lady, will feel that somewhat this is going to strain their relationship, the relationship between her parents, whom she has been with for the last many years, right? Perhaps she's being married it normally happens at around 28, 27. Yeah, so for the last 27 years, now this man who is a Luo wants to strain my relationship with my parents. This is not going to work. Another thing is that there will be lack of parents' blessing. There's something that has been said and re-echoed in our discussion, something called parents' blessing. So parents' blessing, how I understand it might not be very true, but you people will correct me. It's more of parents endorsing that marriage. Like they don't have anything against it, so they bless it, because I've heard that it's very important, and we believe that parents have some blessings that will enable that family to. So if they don't support it, then there will be lack of parental blessing. If that is not there, then that means that marriage will not do what? will not work well. Another thing is that there will be language barrier. And here I shift a little bit. So in the case where I am a Luo, that's an example, and then the lady is a Kisi, perhaps there will be a time when I would want my wife to speak or just have a story with my mother, or perhaps I am an orphan. I only have my mom, and sometimes I would want her to be home. So there will be some language barrier there. And perhaps it can be so much an issue so that wacha ikae, sort of, we get. Now, another thing is that there will be jeopardized relationship. And here it is the relationship between the man and the lady who want to engage with each other in matters marriage. Because, if as a man I'm presented to the parents of the lady, and then I realize that the parents of the lady has not so much welcomed me, then already I will be sure that there is no sure bet in this lady. And therefore what happens is that unfaithfulness will creep in. I would not want to lose everything. I would rather put one leg inside and another outside. So our relationship will be jeopardized. Because this lady is not so much predictable and I can't be sure, I will now have what we call nowadays backups. Are we getting that? So there will be jeopardized relationship. The last one under that reason, it will be child-parent attachment. Now, this comes in two ways. There's mother, the lady, and also father, the man, in the sense that the mother, and I gave an example that this always happens with our beloved mothers, but she said that it's not very true, sometimes fathers, where you will feel as a mother that this person is going to own so much space of my son so that I won't have my son whom I've been having. Perhaps a mother will be looking at it from the perspective that the son is earning much, is becoming financially stable each and every day, like is being rich. And so this lady is going to squander that space that the mother would have benefited from, and vice versa with the father. Now, how about reasons for marrying her otherwise? So one of the reasons that we realize that might lead to marriage despite of the tribalism clashes is that this one is about, it's embedded on the power of love, where the two parties reason that this love is so powerful and so genuine and so true that it can conquer every barrier. So that is one of them. Another thing is that we realize that, and we are speaking about it in the context of parents who are Christians and real Christians. So another thing is that Christianity is above all cultures. Remember we talked about culture clashes to be part of the reason as to why they would deem it not fit because of issues tribalism. So they say that Christianity is above all cultures. So that if we are Christians and we are staunch Christians, and there's a difference between a religious person and a spiritual person, right? So if you are a spiritual person, not more of a church goer, then you will be sure that marriage is not going to, culture clashes are not going to stand on our way to what God wants of us. So that is also something we discussed. Another thing is that there is what we called independent decisions. Now, under independent decisions, here is the case where, in as much as there will be some rift between me and my parents, or the lady and the parents, there are times when there are boundaries that our parents, we felt like they should not intrude. And I will explain. Now, if your parent is, God forbid, this is someone who has been in alcoholism for the last 60 years. You know the impaired judgment that comes with alcoholism, right? In the sense that sometimes a child would want to guide the parent more than the parent would now want to do what? To guide the child in sacred issues as these ones. So we thought that sometimes you have to make an independent decision because after all, we thought, it's between you and this lady. And sometimes you have to stay back and rethink about what your parent is going to destroy, so to speak. We know that our parents love us and they would not want to destroy our what will work for us. Another thing was meeting my qualifications in a man. This is a lady speaking, right? You know, this is the person who has met, he has checked all my boxes. Youths understand that, yeah? He is tall, he is handsome, he is financially stable, he is good, he is a Christian, he is a member of PA or whichever department in church. So everything is perfect. And therefore, I know no lady wants to associate himself with someone who is, but that's not true. Tastes are different, preferences are different. So if that person has met all my needs, all my qualifications, I am going to marry that person despite of the tribalism despite the difference of tribes. Another thing is that reasons as to why marriage would work despite of differences in tribe. The last one here, no, second last, financial stability. Hey, okay. So this one is a situation where a parent has taught her daughter for the last 6 years doing medical and surgery parallel. It's about 560,000 per year. That's a huge investment. And now you want to come as a man. You understand, right? So the parent will feel like, I have so much invested a lot from kindergarten to college to everything, so that I would want you to at least, I'm sorry for that, so that you would want to, we expect, so this is parental expectations. We expect that you bring someone who has something to do what? To compensate on the investments that we've made in our daughter. And these are things that happen, by the way, because the pain of the parent is that I have taught my kid, and therefore I would expect this kid to attract someone who will compensate on the investments that I've made. So sometimes, if that person is meeting the financial stability that the parent have ever dreamt of, then it is good to go. If it is otherwise, then some parents will advise that we don't endorse that because he is not financially stable. God forbid for that kind of advice, but it happens anyway. Winning confidence is the last one here. So the reason as to why it can work is when we
summarize
win,
because summarize the other groups to be present, and please focus on how you are managing the conflict.
Okay, thank you. Winning the confidence here, it means that I've won their confidence that this is a good person, and therefore we are good to go. We are good to go. So how do we resolve these conflicts? First, we talked about fervent prayers, where we want to pray about these things. Another thing is that we talked about negotiation. We want to negotiate. The parents from one side and the parent on the other side, they come together, and also the parties that want to engage, so that we can negotiate and reach a point. Another thing is that we would want to do a mediation, where we will bring in the third party if we cannot agree in our own levels. So we bring someone like a pastor or perhaps church elders, so that at least they can be mediating for our case. And another thing is that we discussed on issues assertiveness. Assertiveness here means that we make firm decision despite of the parental clashes. So that when I say I'm going to do, I am going to do it, and therefore the repercussions will be on me. And the last one we talked about is effective communication. Let's come together and reason as a people. I was told that we need to quote the book of Songs of Solomon, chapter 2, verses 15, which says that catch the little foxes that ruin our vines. And also Ephesians chapter 6, verses 1, which we discussed in our lesson, which says that obey children, obey your parents in the Lord. Now we discussed that thing was primarily talked to by children who are in the faith, obeying parents who are also having their faith rooted in Christ. Parents in the Lord. And verse 4 says that parents, do not provoke your children. Do not provoke your children. You can do better than provoking them. And that was our case. And I hope you will guide us, because it's an issue that we struggle with. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We thought they were going to come with the solutions, and they're still telling us to guide them. Anyone wants to add or subtract? Now, there is a point that they mentioned which I want to add on, which is patience. Patience. I think you mentioned that, isn't it? Patience. Because sometimes you may come with something, and depending on the parents, it may be a cultural shock to them also, which they had never thought of. And if you go ahead and just say, no, me, I'm independent, I'm a Christian, things say this, you may end up with rifts that you may never heal and that you will regret. And when you are talking of the patience, just waiting a few more months or even 2 years. I know of a couple that waited 2 years because the father was so adamant. So this time it was a kissy father, and so adamant that you are not going to marry from that tribe. And it's not that they are not Christians. And he was giving reasons which were genuine to him, because then they'll start giving you examples and so on. But then this couple decided to pray and be patient and wait for their parents, because the father did not even want to hear, and people were being sent, and it was not happening. So somebody came with a suggestion and said, no, but it is your choice, you know. Why do you have to listen to your father if he's being unreasonable? This is not Christ-like of him. But he was so happy when they were wedding, and the father was now so happy and in support. It turned out to be so different from what it would have been. It changed from what it was a year before. But it took a lot of patience. Actually, this one took 2 years on the part of the couple. And you know, the father was even sorry for what he had done. But now there was so much understanding and gelling. So sometimes, as you said, it is a shock to some people's system. Maybe in that family, they do not have the flag of Kenya in the family. They just speak one language through. And then now you want to come and mix it, and you want to mix it with something that, you know, sometimes we really, you know, put boundaries or borders and said, okay, even if you are marrying from outside, why not even at least this tribe? Why did you have to go to that one? That one will not stay, that one will do this, that one will do this. But that point that you mentioned of patience and prayer works much better than if there is now a rift where people are not talking and they are not fighting. And sometimes it is maybe just one example that they saw that didn't work. Now, I need to be advised whether we should finish with all the groups and I still need to summarize, or should we cut it short, because I think we were supposed to end at 4. We were supposed to start at 2:30 and end at 4. It is now 25 past 4. What do we do, Elder? Do the other groups present and finish and then I present, or what? Okay, so you want them to go ahead. Okay, please summarize. And what we want to listen to is how that conflict is resolved. Yes, thank you.
Thank you so much. In our group, we were talking about a married family, that the father the mom has a lot of things to do, and the father demands a lot from the mother. So one of the solutions that we came across, that we
now, when
mentioned,
you say mom, when you say mom, it may mean the mother. This is a couple, isn't it?
Yes.
So it is this young couple who are married for less than 10 years, the husband and the wife. I just wanted to correct, because it may mean, yeah.
Thanks for that. So the first solution that we got is that the couple to maybe employ employ someone to reduce the house chores. Then the second one, the couple need to have an in-depth talk to streamline the roles and duties of each other so that they can find time for one another. And that we can also read in the book of Genesis chapter 2 verse 18. So another point was to create time for one another again. And then the fourth one was good communication, understanding among the couples. Then the fifth one was all about studying and encouragement of spiritual growth among the couples. Then the sixth one, we talk about support of one another, either spiritually, morally, or physically. Then the last one, if all of them don't agree, then they can invite maybe a marriage counselor or a counselor to help them. Then the other one, which is now that summarizes everything, was about maybe the two couples appreciating each other, maybe with the good words, because that also boosts good marriage morals and values. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. So communication is an issue there. And you know, communication on issues of sexuality, those are areas where sometimes people keep quiet until things arise. Even parents talking to their children on issues of sexuality, sometimes we don't want to talk to them about it, and yet they know more than you. Like this young child who was asking, the parents, what is sex? And they were saying, no, it's something that is not good for you, blah, blah. Then it's like, but what is it that is not good for you? Why don't you tell me? What if I go outside and step on it and it hurts me? So sometimes, we then grow up with that attitude, and even in the home, the people are not free enough to discuss. So thank you for mentioning that communication is effective and understanding in those matters. Yes.
Good evening or good afternoon. Yeah, thank you so much. In our case, this is a scenario where I, as the man, or rather the husband, I am the provider in the family. Yet what I give to my wife, it's like I have that feeling that much of it she gives to her family and not my family. So I feel it's like my family is really being put aside, whereby my wife is so much on her family, yet I am the provider. I believe that's quite clear. Just quickly, to resolve this kind of conflict, this is what we settled on. First and foremost, prayer-free, sit down, the two of you, and bring forth the issue into discussion so that you see where the problem is. Number two, if possible, because this may even be that's hearsay, okay? Guess what called rumor. Can the husband, who is me, because I'm the complainant, provide evidence on the same? Number three, there's need, after maybe providing evidence on the same, let each party express his or her feelings about the same. Number four, establish the cause of the behavior. Why could it be maybe the wife doing so? Okay? Maybe you may end up realizing that maybe she feels that, okay, my side, we are well to do. Okay? And yet her side, they are so down and they need more than even we need, or my side they need. That's why there's need that is to try to establish really the cause of such kind of behavior. Okay? And then number 5, if at all we are not agreeing, then the suggestion here is that let's maybe the man take up the responsibility, distribute the money, if it's the money or whatever resources, give what belongs to maybe what he feels my family should be getting, and then what he feels that his own family should be getting, so that may not continue, because he's the one who is actually complaining. And lastly, number 6, should we not agree? If the conflict continues, we are not agreeing, then involve the third party. This could be now the pastor, maybe elders, because we are church goers, and any other person we may feel that he may come in, because also this is an issue that we may not want to open to every Tom and Dick. So any other person we feel, well, we have confidence in him, we can invite him to help us, give us the way forward. Thank you. That much brief. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Which one is the next group? Yes, I think that's the last one. Oh, you okay. Then you'll be the last.
Happy Sabbath. Happy day. What we were handling was, I have this man who seems so right. He has everything in check. But the problem is that he's controlling, in a sense that he has a problem with jealousy. Is jealousy a problem? Yeah, I don't know. Then he has a problem with me associating with other people. So he's generally controlling. So these are the solutions that we came up with. Number 1, we agreed that we'll check on the reason why he is like that. The reasons that came out were maybe the environment that he's coming from could lead to the actions that he's taking, or the previous relationship that he was facing could lead to him being controlling and stuff. So we agree that if that is the case, then the man has to heal from the past and come out clean and know that you are joining a new relationship. So you need to trust me the way I trust you. Someone else say that they will just walk away. That I was just writing them randomly. That if at all that happens, they just walk away. And the third one was, we talk it out. Why do they feel the way they are feeling? And if at all there is any genuine reason, then how does he feel we should go about it? And if it's my fault, we apologize. And if there are areas to mend, we mend together. Another one saying that the best thing is to avoid the phone. The phone came in because the man is trying to look at my phone and see the conversations that I normally have with my colleagues, friends, and the people I associate with. And so from there, ndio anakuwa kuna issues. So another person say that you just avoid his or her phone to avoid issues. Another person also say there is an aspect of self-respect. Self-respect in a sense that you are dating, just put respectable boundaries and how you associate with people, so that even if the other person is seeing you, there will not be the sentiment like sinania na date nani, mbona wako hivi. Like hakuna hizo the small hints that will suggest otherwise. So we respect each other, respect our relationship, and all will go well. And another thing that came out so clearly, and I felt this was the strongest one, we share our everyday struggles. As people who are dating, if we are open to each other and for example, I tell the other person, oh, today nilikuwa mahali fulani, but I met this new friend, but this new friend seems to be wanting nini na nini, but mimi siko hivyo. So at some point, definitely, they will come up with my phone and see some conversations. But because I had already shared that, they will be like, she had told me about this, so it's nothing. Her intentions are not ill. So those are some of the situations and solutions that we came out with. I don't know if I've left anyone, any. Oh, they are all well represented. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I think I'll summarize my comments later. If there are no comments, let's have the last group.
Happy Sabbath. So our issue was the absent father. The father and mother are separated, and the child has indiscipline case in school. Both parents are required in school, but the father blames the mother because she's the one staying with the child. So we looked at the issue, and we said maybe the reason why there is an indiscipline case is because the two parents are separated, and the child, that one has affected the child. And we came with a number of solutions. The first, or the immediate solution, is the mother should discuss the issue with the school administration concerning the separation, so that the school can look for ways in which the boy or the child can be helped, maybe through guidance and counseling. Another issue is to deal with separation. So the two parents should look for ways or causes of separation, and then the mother should, maybe if the mother is the one who causes separation, maybe because he's not respecting the husband, then she should look for ways in which she can bring the husband so that she can ask for forgiveness, and also the two parents reconcile, because both parents are required to raise the children. But if that one cannot happen, then the mother should inform the children, even at early stages of growth, that they are separated with the father, and therefore they get to know, so that they are not affected later as they grow up. The mother should take the responsibility of training the child to grow in a godly way, as we get it from Proverbs 22:6. Above all, the family should pray, especially the mother and the children should come together to pray for the father, so that he can change his mind and come back. Thank you.
Thank you very much. You should give yourselves a clap for coming up with various solutions. Now, I just want to summarize on conflict management. I think you have all given thought to your discussions. and the presentations that, that you have made. Is this thing on? Or it's not on? Okay, so are you going to put it on or it's not coming on? The projector. All right, now to the group that was discussing the issue of this guy who is controlling and you are not married, maybe another time when you invite me to talk to the young people, I'll talk to you about the 10 commandments of dating. And actually the very first one that you were talking about, this man who is controlling you even before you are married. So if it is not easy and fun when you are still dating, break up. You mentioned that one person said break up, but it's like it was a weak breakup. If he's controlling you and perhaps beating you and you are not married, he has not taken any cows to your home, break up. I mean, run like yesterday, because this is the kind of person who will be verbally and physically abusive. And at least you are lucky enough to see the red signs, because sometimes God wants to stop us in our relationships. We see the red light. You see the lights, the traffic lights, we always have green, and then amber, and then red. And you are seeing red lights, but you are just driving and passing through the red lights. Then later on you come saying that, oh, he was not like this, or he changed. But truthfully speaking, is it working? Okay. Oh, okay, it's there now. It's okay. Yeah. Sorry. So I was just saying, if the truth be told, you saw all these signs, but you decided that okay. Yeah, so I was just saying that that commandment number 1 for dating is that if it is not fun and it is not easy, break up. If you are always fighting and is suspicious, wanting to look at your phone even before you are married and control you, what are you still doing there? Because it means that later on you guys will be fighting, and the phone has really broken up so many marriages. So you should not lose your individuality. God is the owner of your individuality. And remember, we mentioned during the week that you are complete in Christ. Colossians 2 verse 9 tells us that the man comes complete, the lady comes complete. You do not need anyone to complete you. So I wish young people would listen to these things and not have to complain later on. Because that's where we find people like Mr. Tick. So during the week, for those who are away, we were looking at different types of husbands. And I think working and wants the wife to bring all the salary, then he decides what is done with. So this is like Mr. Tick, who is a very lazy husband. He lives off his wife. He's literally hanging on to the wife's skirt. He's stuck to the wife because of her money. He's dependent on the wife as much as the children, and he's very loving in his own way. Fond of calling the wife all sorts of little nothings, honey, sweetheart, sweetie, when it suits him. And will siphon money off the wife and will still spend the money with other women. There are men whose wives have bought them cars, and he goes off, and that car, you don't see it, you who bought the car, it's other women who are enjoying it. He has no initiative and has negated his role as a breadwinner in the family. Then there is a visiting husband, the absent father, Mr. Python, a very rare species. His house is a lodge. He only comes to sleep. He leaves home when the children are still sleeping and comes back when they are in bed. Remember, during COVID, these were the husbands who now were strangers because the children and the wives were not used to seeing them at home. Then there was lockdown, and now they were forced to be at home, and they were now a bother to their wives. He's always at work or making deals to make money, but unfortunately, he has no time for his family. He does provide materially for his family, but is always absent. Here, the case that we were dealing with. So how then do we manage conflicts? Generally speaking, now I'd given that one to the youth. I'll just try to summarize quickly. Number one, listen to your feelings and articulate them well. You know, instead of saying that you are always looking at my phone, you are doing this, you are doing this, for those young people who may still want to discuss that and not break up, you should use rather I statements and say, I feel disrespected when you take my phone without my permission and look at it. So listen to your feelings and articulate them well. And describe the dilemma. First of all, understand the problem yourself so that you can articulate it well. And make a request, a very specific request. Like if it is that Mr. Python who's never there, and your request is actually for that absent father to be there, be straightforward and don't go round and round and round in circle. Make your request. Remember in the morning when we talked about Rahab, she made her very specific request. I want my father, mother, brother, sister saved and delivered. So then that person has no excuse that they did not understand you. And also listen to the response as you devise a solution. So that is generally on general conflict handling for all the issues that we spoke about. But now coming to rethinking conflict in marriage. Remember we said that marriage is a school where there is no graduation. Now since it is a school, you know school is not always enjoyable, isn't it? There are some tough subjects. There are some subjects like physics, and maybe you did not do very well in science in primary school or high school.